Welcome to Learning Excel. My name is Rafael. As the name of this course implies, Excel to Dashboards. Well, we have Excel to Dashboard. With many videos behind us back now, we're finally up to that stage where we can actually create what are called dashboards. So let's look at a quick review and answer a few questions about what are dashboards and why they're important. So what is a dashboard? Well, a dashboard is a visual display of metrics in a chart that allow the upper management to quickly review key figures to make important decisions. That's the crux of why you create a dashboard. So why use a dashboard? Well, like I said, the charts in the dashboard provide the upper management with key decisions that can quickly review trends and patterns that raw data cannot provide. And who requests a dashboard? Well, when you create a dashboard, you're not just doing it because of the sake of doing it. You're doing it because someone is requested a visual representation of the metrics. So who requests a dashboard? Well, the end user. And who is the end user? So the end user can be the upper management or key figures in your company that need to evaluate the data without the burden of filtering raw data. Remember, what you're doing with a dashboard is taking the raw data, converting it into a visual representation of chart, taking that chart and putting it into a dashboard. So when do you create a dashboard? Again, when asked by the user. It's not something you're going to do on a daily basis. It's going to be done something when you consult with the upper management and they want summary data in a chart. So the way I've set up this agenda, if you will, to create a dashboard, because we're going to be doing a lot of things, is as following. I'm going to format the dashboard worksheet, get rid of the grid lines, view, uncheck. These are some of the things that are just for you for notes, grid lines and format color. Create from raw data the following pivot charts. So we're going to be using pivot charts we've already done, and we can create them also using regular charts, and I'll show you that also, without formatting the bar, the column, the line, and the pie chart. Then we're going to create the following charts without pivot charts, and that's the combo chart, histogram, and radar. And we're going to create and format two worksheets for the dashboards. One I'm going to create right from the scratch and show you how to create the dashboard step by step. Then here I'm going to show you how you can do it as a practice. And then basically, as I said, it's just copy pasting the bar, the column, the line, the pie on one dashboard, then formatting it with what's called slicers. And we've also begun and talked about slicers, and I'm going to actually redo that here. And then I'm going to let you do that on the second dashboard. So let's, without further ado, excuse me, let's look at a dashboard and how to begin. So let's look at a dashboard. Here is a dashboard. As you can see, it's a great representation of raw data. And one of the things is, you can notice here, these are the slicers. The slicers are the company name, the salesperson, and the products. And as we adjust either one of these, or if we select them or filter them, then the corresponding charts here alter. For example, if I want information just about Andy, just notice what happens to these four charts simultaneously. If I click on Andy, I get everything relevant to those four charts filtered for Andy. And if I do Jane, I get everything for Jane, as you can see. Now, I've filtered. What about the products? Well, just suppose I just want the cell phone for Jane. Then this is the result set of Jane with products. What about if I want the company that they work for? Does Jane work for Best Value? She does, and those are the products and percentages that she works. What about Dry's Electronics? If we do that, there's some there, some there. She doesn't get it, we don't get it. What about multiple? So let's say we've got Jane right now. If we want to select, for example, Jane and Peter, we can just click on this icon. We've talked about multi-selecting. Click on Peter, and now you'll see two total sales by reps. So this is a great benefit, and let's remove the filter here, and we get all the raw data in a format. So as you can see, the beauty of creating a dashboard, and this is a dashboard. Try to keep the dashboard simple, as I have, but this is entirely up to you. This is not something you have to follow what I'm doing. But the other notice here is as I scroll up, the upper row number 1 with the name of the dashboard is fixed. So I'll show you all these things, how to get from. Now, this is the raw data. As you can see, if the upper management had to figure out and try to figure out patterns here, it's going to be virtually impossible to do it. So would you take raw data here and making decisions, or would you make decisions here? I think clearly the answer is here in a dashboard. So as promised, let's look at how to create this from scratch, and let's do it step by step. So the first thing is right here. We've already talked about the dashboard. Let's go to the raw data. Of course, you do need the raw data. Now, the raw data, as you can see, is a table. So make sure you select it as a table by pressing the data that you want and press Control T. So remember that's Control T. And this is already a table. If not, you can go to Insert and click on the table, and this will format all the data. So at this point now, we've got the raw data into a table. Great. So how do we convert that? So the first thing I want to do actually now, I'm going to actually create a quick, and I'm going to be using a mouse because, like I said, my finger is a little still healing. So I'm not going to be using shortcuts because I want it to be a little faster. So I'm going to just double click it and go dashboard, capital D. Dashboard 3, and that's fine. So as you can see, you start off with the dashboard with a clean slate, if you will, just like I did here. So we're going to go step by step in creating this background. So how do we get the background? Now, there's several ways of doing everything here. So this is by no means the only way. But again, just select the entire data, go over here, go no fill, and you can have a no fill right here, no fill, and that'll give you the white background. The other way, of course, you can do it is view, or let's click the data, view, and you can see the grid lines. So if I uncheck the grid lines, they suddenly disappear. Now that I've got a white background, I can certainly go select all, and of course I can change it to whatever color I want. And again, now I'm just going to go scrolling through. You certainly don't have to follow this. You can do whatever you want to do. So that's the first thing is to do is get rid of the background. And that makes it a little neater. It's not mandatory, but it looks neater also. So as you can see now, the first thing I did, of course, is just took row 1 and I froze the row 1 and then I merged it. So let's do that also. So I just go to, now let's increase it however thick you want it, because I want to freeze it also. And of course, if you look at, now I'm going to have to go back and forth just to make sure I've got up to T, because I'm using a wider screen. So I'm going to go up to T. I'm going to go merge and center. And then I'm just going to call it electronic sales. And again, we don't have to be exact here at all. This is entirely up to you how you do it. That's the most important thing. And let's just increase it. Highlight, increase some of the fonts, and left align it. There we go. And now, as you can see, we can give it a color to make it stand out. And again, this is entirely up to you, as I keep saying. And let's just make it left, center. Okay. So the next thing you want to do is freeze that pane. As you can see, it's not scrolling. So click on it. Go to View, Pane, Freeze Top Row. And all this has been discussed before, but just now you can see as I scroll, as you can see I'm scrolling, it's frozen. So it's not going to be perfect as the other one is, but I'm going to get as close as possible. Now, again, this is another one that I did just to create another band, just to separate it. This is strictly aesthetics. So I'm going to highlight this, row 2. I'm going to merge it, center, and just give it a color. So select whatever you want. Let's quickly go on this. And now we can give it a border. Give that a border. And that looks good. So that's how you make that dashboard environment, if you will. So this is what we've done here. And as you can see, scroll. So the first thing I'm going to do now is create these very charts. This is, as you can see, it's the bar chart, column chart, line chart, pie chart. So let's see how we do that. So the way you do that is you go to your electronic raw data, whatever it is, click on the data, go to Insert, Pivot Table, and this will pop up. And you've seen this before. It's going to ask the range of data. It's going to collect the entire data that you want and go, okay. So it's going to ask for a new worksheet, and that's fine. We're going to say new worksheet. And this pivot table fields will pop up along with the pivot table. So for the first one right here, the bar chart, all we've got is the sum of the, these are the companies and their total sales. So those are the two things that we want. So let me look at here and go bar. I'll just put bar, double click. I'll keep it lower just to differentiate it, or bar 2. That's fine. So we need now this company name. There it was. And then we need the total sales and the values. And there we go. And at this point, you can format it if you want to, or you could format it after the fact. It doesn't really matter. So if you highlight this, go all the way down, simply go into the $sign and right click. You can format the cells here. Right click, number format. And we've got all this before. I'm just giving you variations that you always learn. And that's it. And now you'll notice that as I uncheck from the data here, we lose the pivot table. So as soon as I click on it, it's back. So take a note of that. You also notice here is if I click out it right here, there are 2 tabs that are related to pivot, formatting, and charts and analysis. So that's important here. That's what we're going to do working. So now that we've done that, just click on this, and here, make sure you click on the analysis. And all we have to do is go pivot chart and select the pivot chart that we want. The one we wanted, of course, for this one was the bar chart. So we're going to go bar chart and go OK. Now, obviously, you'll notice here, this is how we've got it. And at this point, I'm going to leave it here. We can format it one by one, but entirely it's up to you. What I like to do, actually, is, so let me recommend, what I like to do is get everything up here, copy, paste all the charts that I want. Then I'll format it here rather than copy, paste up it. But again, that's a personal preference. So that's fine here. You'll notice here that it's slightly different than the pie chart I've got here, where the figure, the greatest figure is on top. So that's just a question of sorting. So let's do that. So you can just right click, sort, and there we go. And again, don't worry about formatting at this point. We'll format it later and save. And that's it. That's how simple it is to create a pivot chart for our dashboard. Now let's continue with the next one. So the next one is going to be the column chart. The column chart is the salespeople and their total sums. So we want those two, as you can see right here. Salesperson, total sum values. So let's see you do that. And to create the second pivot chart, you basically repeat the entire process from the electronic. Now you can copy paste this if you want to. Sometimes if you have this thing, then change it. But I think it's just easier, especially when you're learning, just to go from the start. It'll give you a practice and it's a little easier rather than me explaining, hey, you have to change, copy this, change this. So let's do it the easier way. So go back to the raw data, click on any cell, insert, pivot table. Okay, and again, it's going to create a new one. So let's column, it's column 2, so we know what it is. And again, this time it was the salespeople in the rows. So you'll see them here, and their total sales in the values. So all I'm doing is left clicking and entering. And again, if you want to format this right now, you can. But let's say we don't want to format, we'll format later. So as I said, if you hover off it, you're going to lose the tabs for the pivot table. Click on it, we're back. And what we need to do now is actually create a pivot chart again. So analysis, pivot chart, and this time it was a column chart. Select, OK, and we're done. And as you can see now, this is going to be quite easy in creating these. So again, leave these alone right now, and we'll come back to them and format them. So let's look at our dashboard.